Krynn is a world of gods and dragons, war and prophecy, hope and ruin. It is a land scarred by cataclysm, guided by divine will, and shaped by the courage of mortals. Though kingdoms rise and fall, the struggle between light and darkness never ends. Every age bears its heroes, and every age its trials. The continent of Ansalon stands at the heart of this world, a tapestry of fractured nations, forgotten ruins, and ancient bloodlines. Here, elven courts once stood untouched by time. Dwarven kingdoms carved empires beneath the mountains, and in the shadows of it all, dragons watched, waiting for the world to forget what true power looked like. The balance of Krynn rests on a delicate edge. Magic flows with the phases of 3 moons. The gods offer power, but rarely without cost. Mortals, small in the eyes of the divine, are still the ones who decide the fate of the world. This is a realm where legends are forged in war, and where one broken sword, one lost prayer, or one defiant act can change the course of history. This is the world of Dragonlance. Before time had shape, before stars burned or dragons soared, the high god spoke a single word, and from that word, all creation unfolded. Krynn was born in the void, not by chance, but by design. 3 divine forces arose with it: Paladin, Lord of Justice and Light; Takhisis, Queen of Shadow and Ambition; and Jillian, Keeper of Balance and the Book of All-Knowing. Paladin and Takhisis became opposites, one seeking to guide the world, the other to rule it. Jillian stood between them, demanding that balance be kept. From these 3 sprang other gods, gods of war and love, fire and frost, deceit and healing. They shaped the heavens and the world below, breathing life into Krynn and all its wonders. Among their creations were the dragons, born not of flesh but of elemental might. The first were pure and radiant, but Takhisis corrupted half of them, twisting their forms into the chromatic dragons of destruction. Paladin responded with metallic dragons, shining defenders of life and justice. The war between dragonkind began before mortals had even drawn breath. Then came the races. Elves carved from light and grace, dwarves hewn from stone and fire, and humans, swift to learn and quick to destroy. The gods gave them gifts, magic, courage, will, and watched as they spread across the world. The moons rose in the sky, Solinari, Lunitari, and Nuitari, each tied to a different face of arcane magic. And from the heart of chaos, the gods crafted the Grey Gem of Gargath, a relic of wild magic so potent it would one day shatter nations with a single crack. The Age of Starbirth had ended. The pieces were in place, and the great game of gods, dragons, and mortals had begun. As the mortal races spread across Krynn, the first kingdoms rose in the heart of Ansalon. The elves carved luminous cities deep within ancient forests, Silvanesti and Qualinesti, governed by wisdom, magic, and pride. The dwarves tunneled beneath the mountains, founding the great nation of Thorbardin, sealed by stone and shield. The humans, restless and ambitious, claimed the plains and rivers, forming petty realms that grew swiftly and fell just as fast. But power did not go unchallenged. In the shadows of rising nations, the chromatic dragons stirred, red, blue, green, black, and white, born from the corruption of Takhisis. Their breath scorched fields and froze rivers. Driven by her will, they descended upon the world in waves of destruction. Thus began the First Dragon War, a brutal age when mortals had no answer to draconic might. Cities were leveled, armies scattered. It was not until the gods intervened, granting knowledge of dragonlances and calling forth the metallic dragons, gold, silver, bronze, brass, and copper, that the tide turned. Peace was brief. The Second Dragon War erupted as both gods and dragons vied again for control. But it was the Third Dragon War that changed Krynn forever. Takhisis, seeking to enter the world herself, nearly succeeded. Her plot was undone not by kings or armies, but by one man, Humor Dragonbane, a Knight of Solamnia. With the aid of a silver dragon and a divine weapon, he drove Takhisis back through the Gate of the Abyss, sealing her from Krynn once more. After the wars, the dragons vanished. The Dragonlances were hidden. The world fell into a quieter age. But peace in Krynn is always temporary, and the gods knew the balance would not last. In time, the mortal races forgot the lessons of the Dragon Wars. The continent of Ansalon entered the Age of Might, and in the heart of it rose the Empire of Istar. Once a beacon of faith and justice, Istar became consumed by pride. Its ruler, the King Priest, declared himself the voice of the gods and demanded dominion not just over men, but over morality itself. He outlawed magic he could not control. He branded non-human races as lesser. And finally, he issued a demand to the gods to purge the world of evil entirely. The heavens answered, but not with submission. On a day forever remembered, the gods hurled a mountain of fire from the sky. The Cataclysm struck Istar like a divine hammer. The city vanished beneath the blood sea, and with it the heart of an empire. Mountains split, seas rose and fell, forests turned to ash. In a single moment, the world changed. The gods fell silent. Clerics found their prayers unanswered. Paladins felt their holy strength vanish. In their absence, the people of Krynn fell into chaos. Famine spread, plagues followed, kingdoms fractured into feuding warlords. Magic users, feared and hunted, formed hidden orders tied to the three moons of Krynn. This was the Age of Despair, and it endured for generations. The gods had not abandoned the world. They had withdrawn to let mortals learn humility. But few believed this. Temples rotted. Hope faded. Yet as darkness deepened, the world turned once again. In the forgotten corners of Ansalon, whispers of ancient relics began to stir. Clerics who called upon lost names felt warmth return. And somewhere in the east, dragons began to wake once more. The world was not finished with its legends. When the gods fell silent, dragons vanished and kingdoms crumbled, hope became a forgotten word. But decades after the Cataclysm, darkness gathered again, this time in secret. From the wastelands and shattered realms of the east, a new army began to rise. Not orcs or goblins, but something worse. Draconians, twisted dragon spawn, bred from stolen eggs, disciplined and fanatical. Behind them marched the banners of the dragon armies, led by the dark goddess Takhisis, now returned to the world. Her generals, warlords like Ariakas, and clerics who served no true gods, sought to unite Ansalon under a single rule, hers. Chromatic dragons flew again, blackening skies and burning cities. Once more, the world trembled beneath wings, but even in the Age of Despair, heroes still rose. In the small town of Solace, old friends reunited. Tanis Half-Elven, torn between two worlds. Raistlin, a sickly but brilliant mage. Caramon, his loyal warrior brother. Sturm Brightblade, a solemn knight. Flint, the gruff dwarf. And Tasslehoff Burrfoot, a kender with a knack for trouble. They were joined by new allies, Goldmoon and Riverwind, bearers of a staff that called to the lost gods. What began as a journey to protect an artifact became a war to save Krynn. They uncovered the truth. The gods had never abandoned mortals, only waited. Clerics of Paladin and Mishakal returned. The Dragonlances were reforged. The metallic dragons awoke. Together, these companions fought across plains, through ruined cities, and beneath shattered temples. They faced betrayal, loss, and death. Some fell. Others rose higher than legend. And in the heart of the war, the greatest threat stirred. Takhisis herself, poised to enter Krynn once again. But through courage, sacrifice, and unity, the heroes of the Lance shattered her armies and cast her back into the void. The war was won, but the cost was great. The Age of Despair had ended. But Krynn was not yet at peace. Though the War of the Lance ended with Takhisis defeated, peace did not hold for long. New threats stirred in the silence left behind. The dragon armies fractured, but the world remained scarred. Into this fragile calm came a deeper peril, one not born of ambition, but of raw, untamed power. In the years that followed, ancient beings known as the Dragon Overlords rose from distant lands. Vast beyond reckoning, these dragons, such as Malistrix the Red and Berylin Thranox the Green, wielded power far beyond their kin. They claimed whole regions, reshaped the land with magic, and twisted other dragons into servitude. The balance between good and evil dragons collapsed. In this new age, the gods again withdrew. Magic faltered. Clerics and wizards lost their strength. Into the void stepped mortals, seeking to reclaim power for themselves. Some succeeded, many perished. Among them walked Dalamar, Mina, and the soul of Raistlin, whose influence lingered even beyond death. Then the greatest threat of all emerged, not a god, but a being older than the gods themselves. Chaos, father of all, was unleashed upon Krynn. His coming shattered mountains, burned oceans, and nearly unraveled creation. Mortal armies stood no chance. Gods returned in desperation. But it was the courage of mortals, those once called small and powerless, that stopped chaos and saved Krynn from total annihilation. In the wake of the Chaos War, the world entered the Age of Mortals. The gods vanished once more, and this time, they stayed gone. Magic changed, reshaped by mortal hands. The dragon overlords remained, their reign unchecked. The world of Krynn is shaped not only by gods and dragons, but by the diverse peoples who inhabit its lands. From mountain halls to sunlit forests, storm-lashed coasts to wandering caravans, each race has carved a place in the unfolding saga of Ansalon. The elves are ancient and proud, divided into the highborn Silvanesti, the more open-hearted Qualinesti, and the reclusive Kagonesti of the wilds. Elven lands once gleamed with unmatched beauty, ruled by wisdom and magic. But pride led to isolation, and the Cataclysm and the wars that followed left their kingdoms fractured and fading. The dwarves dwell deep in the mountains of Thorbardin and its outlying holds. They are craftsmen, warriors, and keepers of ancient grudges. After the Cataclysm, their gates were closed to the suffering world above, a choice that brought both survival and lasting shame. Some dwarves live as exiles, known as Nidar or hill dwarves, bearing that burden in full. The humans are the most widespread, adaptable, and divided of Krynn's races. Their kingdoms rose and fell through every age: Istar, Solamnia, Urgoth, and countless others. They are priests and tyrants, rebels and kings, capable of great cruelty and unmatched courage. Among the strangest and most endearing of Krynn's peoples are the Kenda. Small and fearless, Kenda have an unshakable curiosity and a knack for finding trouble. They wander freely, guided by whim, and carry pouches full of found objects. Though mocked or mistrusted by others, they remain spirited even in war. The gnomes of Mount Nevermind pursue invention with obsession. Bound by a complex naming system and driven by wild creativity, they are brilliant and often dangerous tinkerers. Where others see limits, gnomes see possibilities, no matter the cost. The Draconians are a race born in war. Created from corrupted dragon eggs during the War of the Lance, they were bred for battle and servitude. But as the ages passed, many sought purpose beyond conquest. Some formed new societies, others turned mercenary. They remain feared, but not all are enslaved to darkness. From the sea-dwelling Dragonesti to the nomadic barbarians of the Ice Wall, from minotaurs who forge empires in the Blood Sea to ogres lingering in ruined glories, Krynn's peoples are as varied as its lands. They do not merely survive in the shadow of dragons and gods, they shape the world with every step. Krynn endures. Through divine silence, dragonfire, shattered moons, and mortal war, the world turns. Wounded yet unbroken. The gods may vanish, but their echoes remain. Dragons may fall, but new wings always rise. And heroes, though buried by time, leave behind stories that stir the hearts of the next. Ansalon is not a realm of peace. It is a place where courage is tested, faith is chosen, and destiny is written by those bold enough to stand against fate. Here, balance is fragile, magic is sacred, and even the smallest voice can turn the world. This is the world of Dragonlance, and its story is not finished. If you enjoyed this journey through Krynn, like, subscribe, and follow for more history and lore. Next, we travel to the legendary heart of high fantasy, the Forgotten Realms, where gods walk Kingdoms clash, and adventure waits in every shadow.